Welcome back, everyone. You know, I've been told a time or two in my day that I've been a little bit like a space cadet.
What?
I've been told that. But it's time to head over to Kaylee, who's talking about real astronauts and the 50th anniversary of the moon landing. Kaylee.
Yeah, 50 years ago, can you believe that? This month marks that 50th anniversary of when Neil Armstrong set foot on the moon. Americans remember the historic event. It's also important to remember the critical role northern Arizona played in making it happen. Armstrong and every Apollo astronaut sent to the moon trained in Flagstaff. That lunar legacy with NASA continues today with scientists and researchers who say populating the moon isn't necessarily far out.
It's very exciting to be celebrating the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11 landings, but that work hasn't stopped.
One small step for mankind in July of 1969 has led to one giant leap for NASA researchers in Arizona 50 years later. NASA has deep roots in Flagstaff, where the space agency trained its Apollo astronauts. Fast forward to today, the area is still part of moon and space research.
There actually is talk of sending humans and establishing a base in perhaps the largest impact basin on the surface of the moon.
NASA is working with Northern Arizona University to study large craters on the moon. Their research helps NASA to map the best location to set up a potential lunar base should humans return to the moon.
For humans to actually be able to live and work in and, go out and explore and come back to the base.
Barlow says the base would house scientists, engineers, and depending on how long-term it'd be, they'd need doctors, farmers, and more people as well.
It turns out that impact craters are a great place for people to actually want to go and explore and build habitats.
The USGS, in a series of really cool explosions, after plotting out craters based on where they're located on a specific part of the moon, they blew them up, created these crater fields that looked very similar to the moon.
The mission of yesterday, helping to plan for the future.
I can remember as a kid sitting there watching Neil Armstrong take the first step on the surface of the moon to actually be part of this next generation and the scientific exploration of the moon and preparing for humans to go back to the moon and on to Mars and elsewhere in the solar system. It's a very exciting time.
The first astronauts to walk on the moon, as you probably already know, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin.
I think so.
And Alan Shepard all used maps drawn out by artists and scientists who used that telescope at Lowell Observatory. Also, other Apollo astronauts trained at their simulated moon crater site, which they built through those explosions. So that was their simulation of the moon.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You said it wasn't that far out. It's pretty far out.
Yeah.
Hey, girl, it's far out.
That's far out.
Yeah. Earth just isn't good enough anymore.
Do you have a desire?
Yes.
Do you have a desire to go to the moon?
Funny thing you mentioned that. My first job that I ever wanted was to be an astronaut.
Are you
that's
serious?
One that I can remember from as far ago as I go. But yeah, I always wanted to be an astronaut.
I've never wanted to leave the atmosphere. No, not like that. And this makes me think of the old comedy back in the day, Jackie Gleason saying to, "One of these days, Alice, to the moon."
He would say that all the time.
Would. Yeah. Well,
I want to tell you just from what I've heard the astronauts say, I've heard that, you're on the moon and there's the dark side, the side that does not face the Earth. I'm telling you, it's things that nightmares are made of for me, okay? So, ladies, just close your eyes. Picture this. Picture you're on the moon,
We're on the moon.
and you're looking at the Earth from a distance, okay? Now, you're walking to the backside of the moon. It gets completely dark. You're standing on the moon, looking out at infinite space. To me, that gives me night terrors to think about that.
oh,
But think about
absolutely.
this: no bugs, no humidity,
No, it's not worth
no
it,
other
Kaylee.
people.
Impending death.
No other people. Kaylee, I'll take the bugs, the people, and even the snakes, which I do not love. I will take that. Over going to the moon.
I just can't imagine being on that dark side, just looking at space, not seeing where Earth is, and just
Floating.
Complete
oh
darkness.
my gosh,
Complete
that makes me creep out. I can't take. Oh.
Yeah, but it's interesting how many people want to
Yeah.
explore that. And I'm glad that some folks do.
Yeah,
But
there's
I
a lot
want to
out
know,
there.
why do some people not believe that we did that?
I don't know. I mean, everyone has an answer, or
Yeah.
they think they do.
Yeah.
I've heard that since I was a kid, just the people saying it was staged at some
Hollywood.
Hollywood studio.
Yeah, right.
But
It never happened.
But I will say that I just happened to see this yesterday. It's funny. There is something called the Flat Earth Society.
Really?
People
There's
who,
a
I
few
guess,
celebrities
They
involved.
still think that?
they obviously still think that the Earth is flat. Well, they had a Facebook post that said, "We have people in our organization from all around the globe."
Oh, that's funny.
Hello, they're the Flat Earth Society.
So they should have said across.
Across the flat Earth,
Wow.
but not the globe, because the globe insinuates that it's a round globe.
And I will have to say, there is some place in the Bible where it basically says the earth is round.
Oh, well, there
Why
you
didn't
go.
Why didn't they just read it?
Obviously, they read their Bible.
Hello.
They
I'm
read-
just saying.
I just thought if God wanted us to live on the moon, he would have put Adam and Eve on the moon. And he didn't do that.
And there's not many signs of life. So.
Well, we've also heard it said if God wanted holes in your ears, he would have put them there too. But we all wear earrings, okay? We'll be back right after this. Don't go anywhere.
I thought you meant like holes to listen.
no.
I did too.
I was like,